James Mangold's Star Wars movie is set 25,000 years before The Phantom Menace so that it's not handcuffed by the lore. Then you, I mean, this is kind of a funny comment here. Then you can't please anybody.
What?
He's a little stung. He's a little stung from his last experience at Lucasfilm where he made a Indiana Jones flop that Sound of Freedom domestically beat Indiana Jones.
Yeah. It was so bad. Commentary channels couldn't even really talk about it very long. They pretty much moved on to the next thing within a couple of weeks. It wasn't. It just kind of came and went, bro. So kind of like the new game.
So can I just try and unpack this this headline here? So in response to fans being upset that all the Disney Star Wars films have not been like what the Star Wars they want, their response is then to put it so far removed from the canon that they now have a reason to not make it like Star Wars.
Well, that worked well for Star Trek Discovery, Shad, because Alex Kurtzman, and this is a quote, canon is hard. Canon is hard, so they moved it in like thousands of years in the future and made it worse. It was amazing. That still affected the canon of which is still canon to Star Trek, by the way. It's in a different timeline, but it's still canon. So I guess that's okay. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't care. 25,000 years ago, it's still in lore. You're still handcuffed to what is the lore. Yes. Like you have to lead into that. You can't do anything outside of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they should be, but they're using it as excuse to just abandon the lore. And now we can do what we want now. Now we have a reason.
Dude, James Mangold makes like good, like I like Walk the Line. I like Ford versus Ferrari. He does. Go back to that. You know, like if you feel like you're going to be handcuffed by lore for Star Wars, maybe you shouldn't do Star Wars. I don't know. Ryan, tell us what happened 25,000 years before The Phantom Menace.
Well, it's ironic that he's talking about not being handcuffed by lore because there's a book. I know it's wild. It's called Dawn of the
Jedi.
Around 20 to 25,000 years BBY. So they've decided we don't want to be handcuffed by lore, so we're gonna create a movie called Dawn of the Jedi. We're gonna set it 25,000 years before. So yeah, you might not feel like you're handcuffed by any lore, but you're usurping. You're stealing a fucking story that already does fucking exist for your dog shit. Like we all understand what this is happening. But of course they've erased that. They've turned the expanding universe into Legends. So that's what they've been doing. They've been pilfering. Same thing with this cocksucking dog fucking bitch Dave Filoni. Fuck him. Whatever.
Tell us how you really feel, right?
Yeah. Can't believe they have a problem grasping lore at the company that came up with the line, somehow the Emperor returns.
I know. It's a banger. Absolute banger. So
there's a book, and I'm not a huge fan of the book. One of the reasons is because it is so far removed. Yeah. It is so ancient compared to anything you're used to, even in the Old Republic or whatever, that the way people speak is different, the way they pronounce things is different, all this shit. I'm not a massive fan of the book itself, but it's called Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void. That's the first book chronologically, and it's like 25,000 years before. And of course, we find out that he's going to make a movie called Dawn of the Jedi set 25,000 years before. These are the people that wanted to wipe the slate clean so they had creative freedom. And all they're doing is going back, digging up the carcass of the thing that they threw in the trash and pretending like it's their own creation.
I can't wait until we see a vaguely diverse lesbian invent the Jedi. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's basically what it's going to be.
And like, hey, they started the year. Remember how they started last year, Ryan? Disney Star Wars. They started last year with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy saying that it's about time a woman, steers the direction of Star Wars. They made that announcement with the Rey movie, and they start the year with another kind of. I mean, they've already announced this. This is like a re-announcement. It's probably to obfuscate from Skeleton Crew not doing very well. Despite some people, I guess, liking it, somebody mentioned on Twitter today, it's like, I can't wait for your review. And it's like, I just remembered that I completely forgot to watch it. I'm going to continue to forget to watch it. I have no intention of watching it. Skeleton Crew has the worst ratings on Disney Plus, lower than The Acolyte.
Wow, that's saying something.
Oof.
I mean, even if this thing is like the best thing ever fucking created by them.
Yep.
It's made and marketed towards kids.
It's like the Ewok Adventures.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right. So even if this was like the best, this is not a shocking headline. It would be the same thing, similar to X-Men 97. When I remember all those articles, it didn't even fuck. You really expected X-Men 97 to chart? It's a cartoon that's not for kids and instead is being made for the very specific demographic of people who watched it fucking 30 years ago. Of course, it's not going to chart. So this isn't even really shocking news to me, or shouldn't be to anybody.
No.
I mean, could it have done better if Star Wars was in a much better place and more parents
a little bit
wanting their kids to watch more Star Wars content? Because I know for my kids, like, there's no chance I like them watching Disney Star Wars slop, and so they're not going to find out.
I think an argument can be made, like maybe it charts lower, but I mean, the state of Star Wars is pretty bad. We'll get a barometer of that with the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is just really just great title for a movie, by the way. Let's just fucking names.
Should have just called it Baby Yoda.
Yeah, they could have just did that.
The movie.
By the time they called him Grogu, the Baby Yoda thing had been over for like weeks.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I only saw 2 episodes, but this picture sums up those 2 episodes. It is the character on the right just looking at the guys and going, "You're an idiot. I know way more than you." And they set up the kids in there. They literally have her convincing them to dig the ship out or something, and there's they're all so gullible and everything, and they're just really excited to be doing it. And it had all the same problems that Star Wars and Disney had. It was just in a kid show. So I don't even really understand the idea it's the best thing they've done. It's exactly the same as everything else they've done. It's just a kid show. I think people might be giving it more leniency because they assume it's
because they just watch The Acolyte.
Not bad. It's the least worst.
Yeah. Did a child survive a lightsaber stabbing through the heart? Or
Well,
Obi-Wan.
what they recast the late great Ray Stevens, Rory, the Hound,
Reported.
The Hound.
The Hound. It's out there.
I was really holding out hope for Star Wars Younglings with a cameo by Hayden Christensen.
That would be the series finale.
Right.
We get to see them get just sliced and diced.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.